and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm so glad that you found my channel and found this video, and I'm really happy to have you here. I know that a lot of new people have been subscribing over the past few months, and that makes me so excited, a little bit overwhelmed, but mostly just so happy and thankful that so many new people are finding my channel and are finding this community of people, because I really feel like that's what's developing, a community of people who are interested in becoming more successful and who understand that success looks different for different people. But anyway, in this video, I am excited to be sharing with you guys my travel morning routine. Now, I remember watching some of these videos back in the day. I haven't seen any recently, but a few years ago, I definitely watched several travel morning routines. This was when morning routine videos were just extremely popular in general. And I thought they were a little bit weird because in my mind, I thought, well, when you're at home, you have a morning routine, you have a daily routine, and you're going about things in a typical way. But then when you go traveling, surely your morning routine gets thrown out the window because you have a completely different schedule, you're not working, you're not going to school, you have different objectives, you're doing different stuff. And so I was a little bit cynical actually about those travel morning routines, and I thought that maybe they were made up. But I would just want to tell you about this video before we get into it so that you understand why this is actually a really special video to me. It might not be special to you exactly, but I just want to explain kind of where this came from. We've been traveling around Europe for about 4 weeks at this point, and we're loving it. It's a big adventure. We've got the kids with us, so it's also a bit of a challenge, but it's very interesting. We're seeing so many different sites, and we're really having a great time. But right before we left, we were actually doing some remodeling work on our house because we had renters moving into our house. And I was trying to get some stuff taken care of with my business so that I could be working less while we were traveling. So all that to say, right before we left, our lives were crazy and we were working really long hours, like about 20 hours a day, I would say. There were several nights when we worked all night through in the week leading up to the trip, which I do not recommend by any means, but we just had some stuff we had to get done, and we were up against a really tight deadline that we couldn't budge because we were, you know, flying across the ocean. So, of course, our routine got completely thrown out the window. We were just hustling to get that stuff done so that we could go on our trip. And then once we got on our trip, sure enough, just as I expected, you know, we were doing different stuff. I wasn't working very much, especially at the beginning of the trip, because at the beginning of the trip we were in Germany and then we went to Paris, France, and there's just so many things to do in those countries that I had planned to take a couple of weeks off of work so that we could see all those sites, and then we were going to come down into Italy and Greece and have a bit of a more relaxed time, and I was planning to do more work down here. So I was just going with the flow. We were just doing a lot of stuff, and at first it kind of felt good. I mean, I was really tired from all of the prep work that we had to do in order to get ready for the trip, but once we got on the trip, you know, I got caught up on my sleep and I was thinking like, oh, this is fine, we're just taking it easy, going with the flow, and being flexible. So I didn't really miss my routine at first, but the longer that went on and the longer I didn't have a morning routine for, the more it just started to feel chaotic and messy and disorganized, and I was feeling overwhelmed and very unproductive. I mean, I'd planned to take some time off of work, but I just felt like I wasn't getting anything done, even not work stuff, even just like keeping our space clean and tidy and getting to destinations on time and being able to do several things in the day. We were staying up really late and sleeping in really late. And like I said, at first it was fine, at first it was fun, but then it just started getting really uncomfortable. So I started really craving having a routine, but stuff just seemed too chaotic, and I didn't know how to turn our travel lifestyle that obviously was very spontaneous and very changeable from day to day. I didn't know how to give that structure, but I was really craving the routine, and so about a week ago I just put my foot down and I was like, okay, I gotta figure out some way to get a routine happening. And it's so interesting how once you make a decision to make something happen, often the execution isn't nearly as difficult as you thought it would be, and that was exactly how it was for me for making a routine. Once I decided I was gonna make a routine, which is what I'm sharing with you in this video, it actually was pretty easy to implement. The routine I came up with is just really simple and still flexible, and it is working with our travel lifestyle really well. So this might be good for you if you have a lifestyle where you're doing different things every day maybe, or you're a mom and so you're with your kids, something like that, something where you need a little bit more flexibility. But anyway, I've been loving this routine that I've been doing for several days now, and I'm definitely gonna keep it up. It's actually been really easy to step into, and so I know I'm gonna be able to maintain it. Of course, I'm always, not over these past couple days, but over the course of my life, I'm always adjusting my morning routine. So I'm not saying this is my new forever routine by any means. It might change 2 weeks down the road, but I definitely have now seen the contrast between not having a routine and having a routine, and I'm gonna keep working at it and keep having a routine. Okay, so I know that this was a ridiculously long, rambly intro, but I just really wanted to share with you guys why this morning routine was impactful for me and why this isn't just another morning routine video. So I really hope you guys enjoy it. If so, make sure you hit that thumbs up button down below. But without further ado, let's jump on into my morning routine. One of the aspects of creating a morning routine that worked while I was traveling was the fact that I don't have as consistent or as early of a bedtime as I normally do back in the States, especially considering that throughout a lot of Europe, especially Italy and France, the normal dinner hour is 8 o'clock or so, and most of the restaurants don't even open until 7 p.m. in the evening. So if we're going to eat out, which we often do when we're traveling, then I couldn't get to bed at a very early hour, at least not consistently. And that makes waking up at 5 o'clock or 5:30, like I sometimes like to do as a routine, pretty challenging. So I found a good compromise with waking up at 6:30. This allows me to still get in some work before my family wakes up, before we get into our plans for the day, but at the same time, it's not so insanely early that I have to go to bed at a ridiculously early hour. So once I wake up at 6:30, then I choose an outfit for the day, and I like to get dressed first thing because it's a super easy thing that I can do without having to put in too much thought, but it makes me feel a lot more awake and a lot more ready for the day. After that, I move on to putting on my makeup. Again, same idea here. It really helps me feel a lot more awake. Putting on my makeup is something I enjoy doing. I find it rather meditative and almost therapeutic, and it helps me feel much more prepared for the day, much more on top of things and put together, so that I can really get into my work and not just feel like I'm lazing around the house. After I'm dressed and my makeup is on, then I like to take just a few minutes to spend some time doing some self-care and setting my intentions for the day so that I'm able to be more proactive about how I approach the day, not being reactive, but actually being able to focus on my priorities. So first, I take 5 or 10 minutes to meditate and to pray. I find that this really helps me to relax and to focus. And then after that, I like to take my journal and do some specific journaling exercises where I write down some affirmations that I really want to drive into my mind, and I also rewrite my goals that I'm currently working on so that I know what I need to focus on with my work first thing. After that, I move on to making myself some coffee. Lately, I've been loving using this instant espresso maker that's at the house we're currently staying at. It makes really delicious espresso. If you're not aware, Italians drink espresso like Americans drink coffee. It's their normal beverage of choice, and I love that because I really like espresso more than I like coffee, and I like espresso drinks also, so it's been very convenient to be able to make my espresso myself first thing. And once I have that ready to go, then I like to sit down and get right to work. I normally manage to sit down and get to work right around 7:15 or 7:30, and it's a great time for me to be able to do this because my kids are still asleep. They normally sleep pretty long until at least 8:30, and when they do wake up, I'm in a different room from them, so it's all right if they wake up and my husband takes care of them for a while I continue to work on my computer. Normally during this period of time, I am answering client questions, I'm doing client work and managing their Facebook ads. I'm also managing the customer care for people who've bought my products, bought my ebooks or my courses, and I'm answering any questions that they have and giving them support. Once I've spent about an hour and a half on my work, it's 9 a.m. and I'm starving at that point. My kids are definitely awake and they always like to eat first thing, so I take a bit of time to make some breakfast, and I normally like to either make poached eggs and toast or yogurt and fruit. Those are two of my favorite go-to breakfasts because they're really balanced, they're also really easy, and they're delicious. But this morning I was actually making cheese toast because we are traveling and we have limited food supply and we needed to go to the store on this day, so we didn't have hardly anything in the fridge. So I was just making do with what we had and still got us fed. After this, I often will do a bit more work, maybe spend 30 or 60, maybe 90 more minutes on my computer, getting my work done, and then after that we like to head out for the day and do some sightseeing. Okay, well that is everything for my travel morning routine. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If so, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, and I would love it if you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I make 2 videos every week about intentional living, entrepreneurship, and success, and I would love to have you join me for the next one. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you're having an amazing time wherever in the world you are, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.